Good evening and welcome to our program. I'm your host, Nicole Hayles. This evening we'll be discussing more battleground constituency seats. Joining me in the discussion is political analyst and acting director for institutional research at Northern Caribbean University, Paul Bourne. Also joining the discussion this evening is the Jamaica Labour Party candidate for St. Elizabeth Northeastern constituency, Delroy Slowly, and St. Elizabeth Southeastern GLP candidate, Franklin Witter. We will later speak with the People's National Party for St. Elizabeth Northeastern, Basil Wade. Good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Mr. Witter, let's start with you. You are the sitting MP, and come September 3, why should persons give you another term as their member of parliament?
We have certain commitment in terms of what was our plan for the constituency, the road conditions, improvement, water supply, improvement in supporting educational programs, and also improvement in the support for culture and education.
Mr. Slowly, what accomplishments can the GLP say they are the biggest when we look at the development of your constituency?
Developments? We've been lacking in development for the past 31 years. People's National Party have held the seat for decades. And while we have seen, very positive macro indicators taking place, the farmers getting assistance, they're left on their own. Youth unemployment, even though we have such national macro indicators going even like pre-COVID, youth employment is perhaps one of the lowest in northeastern St. Elizabeth. And the list of other things continues. And so we need that change.
Our reporter Whitney Smart was in St. Elizabeth Northeastern and spoke with the PNP's candidate Basil Wade, who highlighted the work he has been doing in the constituency.
I've been in the constituency working, and we have accomplished a number of things. We have assisted significantly in getting a brand new bus for states. We have gotten a $43 million water project in Aberdeen. They never had piped water before. We have gotten a $220 million project approved for Balaclava, which has and its environs, which has tremendous water problems. We have put on sporting competitions, night football, which is very popular, over 5,000 people at the final. We have gotten water in a number of other areas. Seven Corner, where my opponent lives, we have gotten them electricity. The MP has patched road in that area. We have done water and road in Foster Park, Holt. We have carried electricity to a number of areas. The Santa Cruz division, the drainage project of the Member of Parliament, and the other works that he has done in Santa Cruz is unprecedented. We got a computer lab for Bogue Primary, and we're working on getting them computers and internet now also at Brace River, also at Quick Step. We've gotten $4 million to rehabilitate the multi-purpose court in Brace River, so the young people will be able to play netball and basketball, and we have lights and it will be fenced as well. So listen, the number of achievements we have had, we have gotten furniture for our sixth form lab at Roger Clark High School. We have gotten water into Roses Valley for the first time in almost 10 years because we got the Oxford pump repaired. We have gotten a $7 million, 20,000 gallon tank with solar panel and guttering for Roses Valley Primary, so they won't have to close school because they don't have water. We also got approved a 30,000 gallon for 12 million for Thornton Primary. We have already installed in Quick Step 3,000 gallon water project, and we have that to go in Layla Primary. We're refurbishing the dust bowl that is at Marie Cole Primary. We have gotten water to Park Mountain Primary. We have gotten 5 schools on the e-learning program. So when you look at what I've done in the last 2.5 years, and I'm not the Member of Parliament, and a Labour Party government is in place, and I can get that done, imagine when I am Member of Parliament.
Mr. Wade also expresses confidence in winning the September 3 general election.
I am confident that I will be the best Member of Parliament that the people in Northeast will have ever seen. And what I am sure about as well is that with this track record and the vision for the future, because if you think my performance is impressive in the 2.5 years not being MP, look at my manifesto, which spells weight, water, agriculture and agro-processing, infrastructure development, technology, education, training and jobs. We're bringing a call center to Santa Cruz. All of the brilliant young people who are here, we're going to put a call center here. We have the high fiber network, we have the space, we have the talent graduating from the universities. All we need is a client overseas. And it's a moment like this that I am different from my opponent. I have a network internationally. I went to Harvard University. I worked at the World Bank. I worked at the #1 management consulting firm in the world. And I'm an alum of these institutions. So I can call on that network to get the client to come to establish the call center in Jamaica.
Mr. Slowly, Basilweight is your opponent in that constituency. He just listed his plans. What's your response?
You know, it's a bit disingenuous when you're going to be using, I believe, when you're going to be using national programs that the government has launched within the past 2 years. Northeast Central it has been left behind. The Jamaica Labour Party came into government in 2016. They have rolled out quite a number of national projects. National water improvement is one of them. And there's a place called Aberdeen that was left behind. And it is through the National Water Improvement Program that Jamaica Labour Party government has brought water to Aberdeen. And I would say it's quite disingenuous when someone who is not a member of parliament would want to take credit for such actions. And it's very unfortunate that others would see that and actually believe that.
Paul, your assessment of both men, their plans for the constituency.
Well, when you listen to Basil record, you will actually think that he's currently the MP. And when you hear rebuttal by Mr. Soley, then you realize that it might be questioned in terms of his accomplishments, so to speak, in terms of that era. Now, I've not heard Mr. Spencer in terms of a competitor to Mr. Winter. However, I'm seeing great opportunities here for the people of Jamaica, but not only opportunities, they are persons ahead in terms of putting forward a vision for Jamaica that I've not seen before. And I'm hoping that these fabulous manifestos will really be put into action for the people of Jamaica, and by extension, our progress into greater things to come.
So, Paul, given this evening's battleground seats, how do you foresee the competition come election day?
Very good. The slowly weight competition, I'm seeing this as a narrow margin, very, very narrow margin, possibly a 500 to a 800 numbers. And I'm giving this one to Mr. Soley, that is, sorry. The Witter, Spencer, again, this one's going to be a narrow margin, and I'm giving this one to Mr. Witter. So, 2 here for the GLP that I'm giving today.
Mr. Witter, you're the incumbent for St. Elizabeth Southeastern. What can we expect for you come September 3? What type of support have you been getting? How do you think you will increase your margin?
Well, the support has been, and expect to move on my last margin of 120 votes. I believe I should be win the seat on September 3rd by over 1,000 votes. We have done the work, and I've seen the support from the constituents, and I know that they will go out and support because they want to see the continuation of the projects that we have started, especially the water project. As you know, Southeast St. Elizabeth, or St. Elizabeth on a whole, is regarded as the breadbasket of Jamaica. And we have suffered long and hard for many years as it relates to poor water supply. And we have improved on that. We have started the Essex Valley Water Project. We have brought water into Junction and surrounding communities. We are planning now to expand on those projects. We have also introduced the Essex Valley Irrigation Project. We have already completed the drilling of 6 wells, and we are now doing the design for the laying of pipes. right across the entire Essex Valley. And therefore, the residents are quite happy based upon what they have seen over the last 4.5 years. And I think they are ready to continue to have me as their member of parliament to ensure that these projects come to fruition.
Mr. Slowly, what about you? What are your plans for the constituency and how confident are you going into the September 3 polls?
Visualization is a very powerful word. You know, before I entered into politics and decided to take on this role, when I was first approached and I accepted at my inauguration speech, I told them that I'm not going to be waiting until I become the member of parliament to assume the position or the role or the title of member of parliament. And in so doing, I have launched a litany of projects across the constituency. Water shops have been set up in Mitcham. Water shop has been set up in Silo. We're looking at setting up some of those water shops out by battleground also, because water is a significant situation. Farmers have been assisted in terms of fertilizers. We have treated our farmers with disdain. Our farmers are the ones that feed the nation, and we have not taken our farmers seriously. No, we have to look at our farmers seriously, more serious, and engage them. It cannot be that a seasonal rainfall is going to be dependent on by the farmers. We need to have irrigation supplies. We need to ensure that we are looking at from 2016, where our debt to GDP has been constantly decreasing and improving. And we need to ensure that those macro indicators, pre-COVID, we had some wonderful indicators, macro indicators in terms of inflation rate, interest rate being the lowest ever, in terms of business confidence, consumer confidence being the best ever. And I'm saying that Northeast Central has not been experiencing that kind of boom as the other constituencies have been experiencing. And I'm saying us coming together was looking at our farmers, looking at our young people in terms of training them. When you look at the community centers throughout Northeast Centers, but all of the community centers are broken. There's no training taking place in our community centers. And I'm saying that we must focus on our young people. We must focus on them because they are the future. We must educate them. I remember when I was a youngster, I used to have ways and thinking in my head, and we have to ensure that we focus on them because they are the future. They were born with great gifts and talents and abilities, and we have to find a way to get them into being productive human being within this society. I understand the needs of this constituency. I was born and raised here. I know the different challenges. As a businessman also, the handout that has taken place over the decades in Northeast, it cannot continue. We need to empower our people to produce. We need to empower our young people to produce, to rise and shine. As a businessman, I cannot give out handouts to people within communities for my business to grow. And so I need to ensure that I have to bring the kind of autonomy to the people of Northeast Central, where I, as a businessman, can see my business grow to a higher level. And that is what I'm saying, that we need to see that change. And you mentioned that Northeast is our battleground. The reason why Northeast is a battleground is because of the years, the decades of neglect that Northeast has experienced. And that's the reason why the People's National Party at this time is about to be ousted out of Northeast Central because they have totally neglected the constituency. By far, all the divisions have been neglected. And that is the reason why Northeast is now considered a battleground.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Slowly. Our reporter, Whitney Smart, was in the constituency and she spoke with some residents.
Okay, so we're here with Mr. Damain Dunkley. And Mr. Dunkley, I want you to tell the people what is it that makes you as a young person want to come out and support your candidate today?
Well, I can truly say that Mr. Basil Waite is an egotistical and well-rounded individual who motivates youth and believes in youth and development of his community. I think Basil Waite will definitely win this election. All the fight he gets, the bashes that people say that Mr. Solo will take this seat, he don't give up. Mr. Basil Waite is a warrior and he will definitely win this general election coming.
Okay, and what would you say to other young persons like you who are a bit undecided? What would you say to persuade them to vote for Mr. Waite?
As I said, Mr. Waite is an egotistical young man, and he focused more on the youth, so youths and their development. So definitely the youth should come out and vote for Basil Waite because he will build the youths. He's for the youths and the future.
Hey, my name is Travis Malcolm, the one and only, the Vice Chairman for the St. Elizabeth Youth Organization. And I'm here in support of Comrade Basil Waite, the next Member of Parliament for North East St. Elizabeth. We have it under control because we believe that this is a constituency that most persons have an eye on. But guess what? This is PNP territory. We want transparency. We want integrity. We want competence. And we can only get that under the banner of the People's National Party. That's why we are here in our hundreds and our thousands today in support of Basil Waite. It is going to be a total blowout. I don't know why in God's earth they put Glenroy Soley here to come and run. Because Andrew Honest, he needs a new kickers. Slowly is too slow, and we will get rid of all the mess and all the corruption from this government and sweep them out at last. We want a new Jamaica, and that new Jamaica can only happen under a People's National Party watch.
Mr. Slowly, you would have heard the residents' response. Your rebuttal.
You know, I grew up in a farming belt where you have peanut being one of the main produce. And do you believe it that there are farmers within my community who have peanut that are going for 3 crops and they're not getting any sale? There's just this lack of opportunity for our people. There's this apathy, as if, this is PNP territory, and they haven't shown the kind of care that is needed to be shown to over the number of years. I've seen where, as peanut farmers, the farmers work so hard, and the prices that they get most times are like minimum wage, because the glut that is there, and I'm saying over the years, it has been, you don't have anyone to make that kind of provision to ensure that the produce that are produced here, they have market at the end of the day. I'm saying there are so many buildings around for Braze River. There's a huge building over there that I want to get my hands at the building to have a peanut processing plant over there where we can have value added produces from the peanuts, because in St. Elizabeth, as I said, it's a large peanut belt of peanut farmers, and these farmers are left on their own, and it has been like that for decades. When I left school and I didn't to plant peanut, and it was difficult work, and it's from then that I've seen the kind of situation with those peanut farmers, and we need to do something for them. The cassava farmers is another situation. We need to do something for them. So when I hear these people talking about, it's as if they don't really understand what is happening here. And I can understand that because they're not from here. I was born and raised here, and I know these situations. And so these things are foreign to them. They don't know what is happening. And that is why they speak at that level.
Given the recent rapid increase in COVID-19 cases, we took to the streets to ask persons will they be voting in the upcoming general election, and this is what they had to say.
COVID-19 will not affect my decision to vote, because it's not like I'm going to be sitting in a place for like hours or whatever. It's just going, make your X and out. So that will not affect my decision.
No. The reason why, because everything is now done in online, so we need to vote online as well. So we can't just go voting like that, because no one gonna carry out the social distancing at that time. Because even if you can look at the motorcades, you can realize vehicles are overpacked. So imagine on that day, what will happen at the polling stations?
Yes, I will be going out to vote. Because I think it's my civic duty and responsibility to vote. I think voting is more important than anything else.
No. I just don't feel like.
Is it that you're worried about COVID-19, or you have your other reasons?
Well, this COVID-19, me not really penny it,
I'll be going out to vote, even though within myself, as a supporter and an activist for the Jamaica Labour Party, I think the Prime Minister called the election too early. Okay? But as a citizen of the country, I think it's my right to go out, to exercise my right to vote, and then get back home. I won't be on any campaign or out with the crowd because of the rising of the COVID. I really don't know who is who.
Paul, your final comments before we go?
If the discussion that we're hearing here is a good indication of what is going on, then there'll be much happening on the 3rd of September. However, what I want to say is I want to see good representation, and I would like to see a great participation on that day, and the winner becomes unanimous as determined by the people in St. Elizabeth.
Would like to thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. With us, we had political analyst and acting director of institutional research at Northern Caribbean University, Paul Bourne, the Jamaica Labour Party candidate for St. Elizabeth Northeastern constituency, Delroy Slowly, and St. Elizabeth Southeastern JLP candidate, Franklin Witter. Stay tuned to Mello TV for your election coverage. I'm your host, Nicole Hayles. Thanks for watching.